Another day at Xbox and another big rumor. This one could be an Xbox game changer. Final Fantasy VII Remake coming soon to Xbox. It could be a thing. Let's go through this rumor today. Let's talk about what this means for Xbox, what it could mean for Xbox. Everybody that I know who has played Final Fantasy VII Remake has raved about it. It's not even fully released yet. I think there's only a few parts out to it. I've not played it myself, but everyone I know who has raves about this thing. It's a masterpiece, supposedly. They've revamped it from the ground up. It's like an entirely new game with new modern mechanics telling the original Final Fantasy VII story, which already is considered one of the best games of all time. Getting this from PlayStation, it dropped on PlayStation originally in 2020. Getting this on Xbox, I think, would be huge. We do know that Phil Spencer, if you remember, was on stage with Square Enix at their Final Fantasy conference in Las Vegas. They're having a much closer working relationship than previously. It sounds like this could be a thing. So let's go through it. Let's talk about it. And I've got a couple questions that we can review. Just what does this mean for Xbox? It doesn't mean anything at all. Would it peel anybody away from the PlayStation? I don't know. What would be interesting is if this came to Game Pass. I think if this came to Game Pass, that would be absolutely huge. And while I don't, let me say this up front. I don't know that this peels anyone away from a PlayStation, for instance, or a Nintendo Switch. But what it does do is signal how serious Xbox is about these things. Xbox no longer is going to be left in the dust on these things. I think that's much more important from a strategic standpoint than even having than getting people over. I think it's a signal, just one more signal of how serious Xbox is in this current generation. So here we go. The highlights from this news story. Microsoft is reportedly in talks to bring Final Fantasy VII Remake to Xbox. Even if those purported talks were to amount to anything, an Xbox port of the game is unlikely to be announced in the immediate future. Not least because it would overshadow the February 29th release of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. In the meantime, Xbox fans eager to play some Final Fantasy will be able to do so from late February when the Final Fantasy XIV is the Final Fantasy online game. Xbox Series X open beta is scheduled to kick off. So the first installment of this Final Fantasy VII Remake was originally released as a timed PS4 exclusive in April of 2020. An enhanced version of the game launched on PS5 in 2021 before making its way to PC 6 months later. Square Enix has yet to give any indication that an Xbox port of the game is in the cards, despite the fact that its exclusivity deal with Sony ended years ago. According to Windows Central's Jez Gordon, here we go. I've got evidence, he says, tentatively, that there are discussions about Final Fantasy VII Remake for Xbox. He said this during the Xbox 2 podcast. His insight dovetails with Phil Spencer's recent comments on the possibility of Final Fantasy Remake Xbox port that saw Microsoft Gaming CEO reveal he's often in Tokyo discussing potential new releases with Square Enix. And that, I think, is the point. The most important thing here is, in my mind, the takeaway here is Xbox is serious about Japanese games and gamers and developers, and they're working closely with big boy developers out of Japan like Square Enix, making masterpiece games that really were exclusive to Sony before. They've put the line in the sand, in my mind. And Phil Spencer and Xbox have both shown that, no, we're serious. And you've got to do that. In all honesty, if I'm a developer over in Japan looking at what the Xbox One did, why would I would not be concerned? And Xbox, it does take time and it does take consistent provability of these types of actions and consistent working of those relationships for this to pay off in the end. The days of Xbox being left behind with these types of games from Square Enix are over. And this is the line in the sand in my mind. Some questions here. How do you think the release of Final Fantasy VII Remake on Xbox will affect the console's popularity and sales? So they're not really concerned first and foremost with console sales. I don't think it will hurt it. I don't think it's going to nudge it in any significant manner. Again, I think long-term, though, it sets the tone and is continuing to set the tone. Xbox is serious. You guys took us to lunch in this last generation. You guys beat us in the console sale market, but we're here. We're a gaming powerhouse. We're here to say, here's Game Pass. Here's how we're revolutionizing gaming for forever. Here, we're serious about Square Enix and our partnerships with Square Enix. The fact that Phil Spencer is there in talks with different game developers and Square Enix particularly, the fact he was on stage, the fact that Final Fantasy XIV is coming and it's crossplay to Xbox this quarter. Is it this quarter? It is this quarter. If not, it's early next quarter. Is huge, and I think sets that tone. And so long term, I think that pays off. I don't think we'll see any immediate significant bump from that, but I think long term it definitely pays off. What are your thoughts on exclusive game titles transitioning to other platforms? So this is an exclusive. It was a timed exclusive with PlayStation. Coming to Xbox, I think I don't have a problem with that. Do I have a problem with it working the other way around? I don't have a problem if it's a third-party title. I do think it muddies the water a little bit. So, for instance, a rumor has been that Hi-Fi Rush will be going to the Nintendo Switch, for instance. I don't know what that gains you. That's a first-party title from Xbox. I genuinely don't know what that gains you. Minecraft is a little bit different of a story. So are games like Elder Scrolls Online. So is a game like Final Fantasy Online. Those are a little bit different of a story, just where we're at. But I don't have a problem with timed exclusives at all. Like, that's the name of the game. More power to any console that is able to do that, and any subscription service. All media works that way, and rightly so. Last question here. If Final Fantasy VII Remake comes to Xbox, what other PlayStation exclusive titles would you like to see on Xbox? I mean, all of them in a perfect world, but that's never going to happen. I don't know. Any other timed exclusives? I don't know what other timed exclusives are out there necessarily at the moment. But I think the age of PlayStation dominating that realm, especially with Square Enix, is over. I think the clock is ticking. And get ready, PlayStation. Get ready. Xbox is coming here. Some of you in the comments might be like, "This doesn't move the needle at all." You're lying. You're lying to yourself. Of course it does. If it didn't move the needle at all, why did PlayStation want it? Because good games sell. Good games sell products. That's the name of the game. Ha! How many times can I say game? Take a drink every time I say it. Yeah. I think this is a big deal. Not for the fact that it's going to move the needle immediately. I think it sets the tone. 100% sets the tone and continues to set the tone. The tone has already been set, but it continues to underscore that Xbox is serious. Xbox is here to play. Finally. You know who benefits from PlayStation being at the top of their game, and Xbox being at the top of their game, and Nintendo being at the top of their game, and other developers being at the top of their game, and Amazon jumping into the mix, and Apple jumping into the mix, and Google jumping into the mix. You know who benefits from that? We do. As gamers, because we get better products, we get better games, we get better options, we get better ways to play our games, more options in ways to play our games. We only benefit. So hurrah, hurrah, hurrah. I'd love to know what you guys think, though. Am I wrong? Am I right? Is there anything here that you vehemently disagree with? What do you agree with? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel. My name is X1 the Gamer. We cover all things Xbox on this channel Monday through Friday. Like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and I'll see you guys next time.